Hello, storytellers, the Storytelling Ron, and I'm doing a pulp cult, whatever. So, Book of Boba Fett. Book of Boba Fett. Now, I don't know if this is cool or not, but I just grabbed this guy's video. Not Squarespace. Robot Head. He might not, I don't know. I think it's okay. He's capturing, just grabbing Boba Fett. And I was looking for ways to screen capture Boba Fett. And, it's, I don't know, whatever. I figured it out, but I didn't care to do it. And so I'm decided, you know what? This is what it got me to thinking about doing this video finally. And so I'm just going to grab it from him. And if Robot Head, if you're angry at me for doing this, just message me or comment me. And if it's still legal, I'll still do it. But if you're upset, then I won't do it again. That's that kind of thing. But I'm really I just wanted and by the way, Squarespace sponsors Robot Head. And Robot Head was amusing, though I disagree with him. I disagree with Robot Head. No, I don't, whatever. It's fine. He's very entertaining. So I really enjoyed, pretty much every Book of Boba Fett is cutting down Book of Boba Fett and I have to just humbly accept it and agree in some sense. But I would like to just make my comment about this show because I really kind of like Book of Boba Fett. I liked it and I enjoyed it. And let me explain why. I like it because it's just a fun comic booky sci-fi. So Favreau, Filoni, I do appreciate the shows. And I wish you guys on YouTube, the libertarians, I wish you guys would be a little more lenient about this because we don't get, how many more shows do we get that are like this? That are fun sci-fi. I mean, really fun sci-fi. I mean, how many, I know that there's so many reasons not to like it, but I'm going to say why I think you should allow that to pass and sure, have critiques of it for sure. But don't denigrate it to the point that it's all terrible or whatever. Anyway, but I don't mind. You guys, if you're having fun doing it, that's fine. But again, I really think we shouldn't destroy it too much because it was enjoyable. I was entertained. It was light entertainment. It's fun and it's not woke. And I do miss Gina Carano. I really am upset about that. I'm going to make in my Christian sci-fi RPG, I'm going to make a Cara Dune. And it's Disney. I'm making a Cara Dune character. Favreau, I'm making a Cara. Get her unless you get her back on, then I won't. Then I'll remove it. Or if you send me a letter of cease and desist, I'll do a Gina Dune. And she will be a Ranger of the Remnants. Ranger of the Remnants, Cara Dune, aka Gina Dune. I will do that. I'm gonna make a character like that that'll pop in and out of my Christian sci-fi RPG series or show or whatever. Because you can't you can't have an LGBTQ agenda that forces actors to comply with them on social media. You can't have a struggle session where you got 40 LGBTQ members that want to tell them to do a public struggle session, just like the Chinese communists do on an actor or on a person. You can't do that. That is unacceptable. I'm still watching the show. That's how radical I am, and then hypocritical, whatever. But I'm just come out and say it. You can't do that. And you gay people, get your act together. You can't be doing that. You can certainly tell me I'm a hypocrite and an idiot and a loser and all that great stuff. Fine, but we can't be destroying each other's lives over what we all believe. I believe homosexuality is a sin because I follow the Bible. So you can hate me for that, fine. But you gotta love me. You gotta love me. I'm the enemy. I love you. You gotta love me. That's the Jesus rule for us. I hope you have a rule like that. Because at the end of the day, we got to get along. Even though we have different beliefs and follow those. Okay, so I think Grogu should have been and Luke should have had their own series. Even like a 3-part series, 4-part series, 5-part series, whatever. They should have had their own instead of doing this whole marketing thing where they brought it back to Mandalorian. I actually don't really care for him now anymore. I mean, I love him. He's cute. But again, I think they should be their own show. And they shouldn't be, and we need a real Luke Skywalker, not a Jake Skywalker. And I do wish that they would have done that. And Robot Head made some funny comments here, but anyway, I'm going to move on. This was pretty funny. He cracked me up what he said here. See, so Robot Head, I'm just promoting you. But he's definitely a libertarian, not a Christian. So, yeah, man, this scene, this obviously episode, this scene of this thing is hard for me to watch over and over and over. But I really wish there was more of a Luke Skywalker Grogu show, and not that he returned to, Mandalorian. Anyway, but whatever. But still enjoyable. Still love the Grogu character in the sense of being entertained. So these characters, everyone dogged these characters, and it's like, but there's kids. Kids do this. Like, and here in LA, we got kids that have their bikes, those little like goofy looking bikes. We have kids here racing around in those kind of sports cars, those like furious, Fast and Furious kind of things. And so this to me was like kind of really reflective of that. When showing these kids with their things, and I'm gonna get to combat too. Because everyone dogs the Book of Boba Fett for its combat, but I'll get to that. So this was pretty funny. They're doing the Reba thing. That when he brought that up, that was kind of interesting. That and Grogu were together, and I want to say about the Reba. I think it was Reba when she was in Obi-Wan. So her acting was fine. Like, I didn't really bother me. What bothered me was that she's saying everybody's racist, for dogging her, and all that issue. As a black person, just get over it. Get over it. People are going to dog you. I don't care. And people are going to dog me. So what? I'm not going to, racist. Just knock it off. That's the part that was like, so I thought that her character was kind of interesting. I thought it was kind of a cool thing. And I think when haters come for you, you got to take the high ground, which Michelle Obama does not take. You got to take the high ground in the sense of ignore it. Just continue on. Don't like find hateful comments from idiots and try to prop those up as your defense or something. Just, I think you should have just let it go and then you would have, I would have been fine with it, and I would have been intrigued by if they would have started a series with her. That doesn't bother me. It's kind of interesting. I mean, it's and it is all of the stories in Star Wars are hard to swallow as in some sort of reality. There's so many holes in it. So what? You just got to go with it. You got to let them tell their story. Now, if they purposely are doing this, putting a black woman in front of us to make us feel uncomfortable, specifically because she's black, that's racism right there. I am not uncomfortable with that. I'm uncomfortable with an agenda of doing that. I'm not uncomfortable with black women doing anything. I'm from the 80s. Go look at Don Rickles on SNL on YouTube, and in the it was posted 9 years ago, but he was from the 80s, I think. He was doing all kinds of racist jokes there, and they're hilarious. And that's what we did. We all laughed at each other. Blacks, Chinese, and everyone was Chinese then. All us Asians. I'm half Korean. We made fun of each other. The bad Asian drivers, black, whatever, crime or crack or whatever. Whites or whites we broke up into Irish, Italians, Polacks. I'm half Polish. So we made fun of everyone and we laughed at it. And now you guys have turned it all into hatred. So that's lame. This stuff, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so he made fun. So yeah, Robot Head. He that was funny. He brought up this, how they, the whole, with all this planning, they still got trapped. And so these vehicles, by the way, I thought they were fine. I know they look terrible and yucky to us, but that's actually what kids do these days. They have these funny little motor scooters right around LA. They have these kind of cars in their Fast and Furious little meetups and stuff. And so they're just trying to do this. It makes perfect sense to me that kids are like this. So I don't know why they were, just because you don't like it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and shouldn't be used in a story. And so I was fine with this. I was like, but then I'm like, but yeah, that makes, of course it's going to have people like that. And, this is a galaxy full of all kinds of different types of cultures popping up. And you don't even know what random weird cultures are going to pop up, in a society. Parachute pants was a huge culture in the 80s. Parachute pants and the mullets and stuff. I mean, that was crazy. Like Michael Jackson stuff everyone was doing it. Whites, blacks, everybody, Mexicans. It was crazy. And it was huge. So here they show them planning, and then they get beat because they all get easily wiped out. Then they make stupid plans, but me see. Let me go to the scene. I'm gonna go back and forth. Oh, the red shirts. That was pretty funny. But they, so they're he dogs these guys, but I just think they're fine. They're part of, the story. And I love that. I love that that Favreau tried to show this criminal world, tried to show these different factions and the different alien races. He definitely must role play the Star Wars role playing game, because this feels like a role playing game and feels like a comic book story. And I think he really, they're trying to just punch out fun elements, and then they got to piece that all together. And I get that as a writer and as an entertainer. I'm not an entertainer, but doing my role playing game and my pacing when I'm a GM, I want to make sure that the people encounter different things and I move it along so that they're having fun. I don't want it to explain everything or make everything perfectly fit together. And you're saying, yeah, but it's a show and you got to write in perfect. No, I disagree with you. You have a lot of, the more people you show it to, the more convoluted it gets. And so I think Favreau writing it doesn't want I hope anyway, he only has a few select people helping him figure out the story, and that's it. Because if you get other people and everyone else with their freaking, I know Star Wars coming in to move pieces around, breaks everything as you're sliding along. I know, because I write stories and I write settings every day. I'm working on it every day. And excuse me, I'm burping up my keto food. So the less I like it, I'm not like, wah, it's perfect. It's Lord of the Rings perfect. No, I just, it's fun. There's nothing else out there that compares this. Star Trek. I don't want to watch Star Trek. What else? What else is like a fun frontier swashbuckler, space opera, light, not woke, just enjoyable show. And this was that. I really enjoyed it. I'm really bummed that we're not letting it be just a fun show. So that's my message to you guys, because I don't think anyone else talking about this. And it's funny. The red shirt guy, that was funny. Robot Head, but also it's funny because, it's funny. Anyway, that scene, these are cool. I like that there's just intrigue and different characters pop up, and there's, different little, and then, and having this dude and having that whole spaghetti Western guy pop, scene. That's fun. It's enjoyable. This is, of course, perfect, homage to the Shogun Assassin, and whatever. Although I would have preferred them having their own show, and Mando doing his own thing. Let me move on here, because I want to get to. Oh, this is his commercial. That guy was enjoyable and silly. He was saying how he doesn't talk much. So here's another thing about Boba Fett that I found sort of disappointing in people's critique of him, is how he's not like the Boba Fett anymore. I am not like myself when I was 20 or 30. I am not even close to what I was like when I was 20 or 30. I am 50 now. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a Christian. I am way different than what I was like when I was 20 or 30. Way different. So I don't know why you guys think he's got to be the exact same as before. I don't get that. And they showed why he changed, because he was with the Sand People and he found like a peace or a need or a better fulfillment, and he found a family, and he actually kind of fell in love with that family, and then he got murdered. So and then he knows now what's more important. Like, that was probably the most feelings he's ever had in his life, and I relate to that. I'm sure Favreau relates to that. And I'm kind of annoyed that you guys think that he needs to be the same as he was before, that he can't grow in this way, and that he can't have this sort of thing. And I like that he wasn't always in charge, or he made bad decisions. You guys are all critiquing him and the people in it for making bad decisions. Our story is about all the bad decisions we make. So I want to get to that, the combat and stuff. She's in a fun. Oh, so here, all this stuff, and they all get, see here, Robot Head's making it funny that they all get, basically beaten. Okay, this is my analogy. This is my example of, they get, these all get trapped and beaten and stuff. These guys get pushed off the hill, the mountain. So my analogy is this. Here, just think about this. This is an analogy. you're sitting there watching this YouTube video, right? Okay. Imagine me in full plate coming in to your home with a battle axe. Okay? I beat down your door, and I, knowing myself, would drop the battle axe and pull out a smaller weapon because we're in a small, tight space. And I come in to kill you. Are you going to make the perfectly right decisions at that moment to figure out what I'm doing? You know? And that's obviously an extreme analogy, but what I'm trying to say is, and of course I'd never do that. I want to come home and just relax and watch some Book of Boba Fett again. But what I'm saying is, like, all the time, we never make the right decisions when it comes to stuff like this. The longbow killed the French knight, full-plated knight, for 100 years. It took them 100 years before they started to realize we need to counter the longbow. You know, it takes people generations to make the right decision on things. And so when a group begins to attack another group that's in defense mode and not really ready, they're not prepared. When you attack somebody, the defense is always like never going to make the right decisions. And even the attack is never necessarily going to make the right decisions. And so I like stories like that where things just kind of unfold in a chaotic manner, because that's the truth. I do medieval armored combat fighting in a list, and I have seen the same teams lose over and over and over again, even though I know they practice over and over and over, because they're not doing the right thing. And I've seen that. And I've seen some teams win every time because they're doing it the right way. And the team that keeps losing just doesn't get it. Like they literally, all of them don't get it, kind of a thing. And then I've seen, and there's always like a team that kind of knows what they're doing and they figured it out. And then the others know kind of what they're doing, but they still can't do what they're doing because and when you get into a fight, you just make the same mistakes over and over. You just don't learn. That's fine. I totally get that. Like it sounds to me like the YouTube couch, Monday morning quarterbacks. It sounds to me like they think everyone's going to do the right thing at the right time or know what to do. And that is not storytelling at all. That's not the truth. But like Robohead was telling how these things were dumb. These big walker things were dumb. And and I'm not dogging Robohead. I think he was very amusing in what he pointed out. But I am saying this that this is reality. Like I used to study World War II, and the tanks and the equipment they always had was never the right equipment for the right time. They had to make do with whatever they had at the time. It was never perfect, and it was always something went wrong. And they still, persevered or whatever. General Patton did not win because he was smarter than all the German tank commanders and generals. He was smarter because he just kept bulldozing them. He kept sending in the crappy Sherman tank. And when those got shot up, he sent in more. He was just driving them, and that was it. That was how he won. And, and that was a good strategy, actually, because he knew he just had to keep hammering them. Even at like great loss. And it turned out that the American ingenuity started figuring out ways. Soldiers on the ground figured out better ways for their tanks to work than all the engineers or whatever. I mean, the engineers obviously gave them a halfway decent tank. The Sherman tank was horrible, but what they found on the ground was they could fix it really fast. They washed out the blood, fixed it, and sent it out there again because even though it could get wiped, destroyed. And they had plenty of young boys, unfortunately, that they sent in with them to do that. The Germans were running out of people and equipment. And actually, the Germans didn't even have the best tank in World War II. It was the Russians, the T-72, that was the best tank. And the chassis came from an American. So go figure. So as much as like we're sort of decrying this, I wish we wouldn't, in the sense of hurting the chance for there to be a Boba Fett 2 or whatever. It's look at this set. I mean, look at the effort. I just feel like this is artistry in the sense of look at what this is a TV show they're giving us, and it's just look at the effort put in just the scenes just for a TV show for us to be entertained and just to have fun. And I know this guy did he's the guy that's in the Mandalorian suit, right? I think this is the dude because even Robohead here showed that them two did the spinning shot with Mando, and then he showed this one, and then he shows the spinning shot with the Mando as well, because the Mando does it as well. But whatever. I bet you he's the one that's doing where's the Mando suit? Could be wrong. But, so what else? I think that's kind of my point now. I just think that, we shouldn't expect perfect. This is just enjoyable. I mean, it's just a fun, entertaining thing to watch, and I just wish we wouldn't. And he complained, well, why did they stay? One of the complaints is, why did they stay in the building when they could have gone to the Jawa's palace and defended themselves? And it's like, that's the point of battle. You fight on the grounds you have, and you just make decisions on the fly. It really is. I mean, there's, no plan goes as expected. And look at this. I think this is just a fun sci-fi scene. So my point, look at that. Just a fun, and they're trying to do all these fun elements, getting that Rancor in there. This is the ending scene. Robot Head was making fun of this scene with these bikes and the little guy and whatever. But I just, look at this. It's just a fun scene. And, all the sci-fi shows on Netflix, all the shows on Netflix are just nihilist. They're just lame. They're just why? Bunch of weak people whining as they make the wrong decisions and they all die. There's no tough hero in any Netflix and sci-fi show, right? They just don't, there's no tough hero fighter, and there's no resolve in those shows where you feel like you have hope or want to fight or be courageous. I want to end my shows feeling courageous, feeling yeah. I don't want to end my shows with, that is such deep, thoughtful stuff that makes me so depressed and nihilist, That's all I get out of the Netflix sci-fi shows. And this show, I end it like this, just a fun, we did it. I just feel like that was, that's fun. Why can't you have fun? So that's since every other video out there is dogging Boba Fett, I enjoyed it. I really did, and I'm gonna watch it again. But also, I'm fighting Star Wars. I'm actually going up against Star Wars with my Christian sci-fi RPG, because I'm not afraid, but I know inevitably it's gonna go woke, and the LGBTQT and all that's gonna take over for it, and more power to you. Okay, more power to you. But it's not my thing. And so I'm doing a Christian sci-fi that totally matches this. You can explore my world with this type of thing. And yes, you can even get an encounter with dog dudes like this. Genetically human created dog men, or what, canines. I don't know. I haven't created that race yet. But I am creating a sci-fi that is Christian adherent, biblical adherent, creation science adherent, that still has this sort of visuals and a sci-fi world out there, or galaxy. So that is what I'm doing. And I'm watching the Star Wars series because I need that sort of feed and influence. And I play the Star Wars role-playing game, so I have a lot of knowledge now in a short period of time recently, since The Mandalorian, concerning all this. So it's really helped me. I'm really grateful to God that I actually got hooked on Star Wars in the role-playing game, because it's actually helped me now to garner this awareness of sci-fi, so that I can create then a Christian sci-fi game that kids can play, that that will have a positive impact on them. They're missionaries in it. They're going out to try to basically evangelize these type of people and tell them, hey, there's another way, blah, 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 and fight bad guys and killer robots and stuff like that. Okay, so that's my little video on the Book of Boba Fett. And my little positive video. I hope Robot Head is fine with me grabbing his video to do it, because I can download that as opposed to trying to capture Disney Plus or whatever the heck they're doing, whatever the heck else I got to do that. And I just wanted to scroll through it anyway. So yeah, anyway, okay. Hey, Rancor.